Welcome back to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
It is time for many people to head back to, I guess we can say it.
I guess so.
Back to school.
It's first day of school for a lot of people today.
It is, yeah. A lot of students headed back to school today in our area. I know that generally East Coast, I think, is a little bit later. Maybe the coasts are a little bit later in terms of heading back to school. But here in the Midwest, quite a few heading back this week. I know my son, we have like open house tonight, meet the teacher sort of event, and then start school on Wednesday. Many parents on Facebook this weekend posting pictures of taking their college student to college and getting them settled in the dorm. And among those, our good friend Jody Token, Coach Jody from The Great Flip, joining us this morning on phone. Good morning, Coach Jody.
No, I sent my baby away. Good morning.
Good morning. It is that time of year. Many people taking their students back to college this week. I saw a few posts this weekend of people getting their child settled in the dorm.
Yep.
And one of the things that you've been working on the last few years that we've had a chance to talk about before is the Great Flip, self-defense and life skills for girls. And as I was thinking about this, you were sharing about getting your daughter all settled in at college, some things that we want to share with them about safety and being on campus, you know, for those college women who are going back to college or starting college for the first time. I thought maybe you could share some tips with us to help those college women be mindful about their surroundings and be safe when they're on campus this year.
Yes, and thank you for seeing my picture yesterday on Facebook. And yes, I sent my baby, my almost 19-year-old, to college. She's attending Ball State up in Muncie, Indiana. And I want them to be prepared, and I want them to have more than just self-defense skills, but really at the Great Flip, it's all about giving girls life skills. But thinking specifically about our college girls and really college students in general, I just have, you can go on Google and find all kinds of little tips, but I really have 4 things that I want girls to remember. And the first one is probably the hardest one, but I'll go ahead and say it, but it's all about being confident. And it's really hard, I think, right now to have confidence because they are so nervous and so excited and a little bit anxious. But even if they can just pretend to be confident and have their shoulders, up tall and have their eyes open wide and looking around, really experiencing their surroundings and getting to know their campus really well. And I know freshmen really have a lot of opportunities to go early, like my daughter did, and go through all the exercises of walking the campus, finding where all your classes are and your buildings are, and having that confidence in you so you can be and look confident. We know that people look for people who aren't looking confident and looking for victims. So just don't even playing the role of the victim. But be confident and have fun and experience it. The second most important thing is be cautious about what you're posting on social media. I know my daughter likes to do it too. They want to tell you what they're doing and where they're doing it. And I would love if the girls could have private accounts, so only their friends can see what they're doing. And if they are doing things in places, they may want to just turn their location services off for that time so people can't see where they are. But that leads me to my next thing is if you are places and posting things, don't do it when you're alone. You always have a travel buddy with you. It goes from, being your kindergarten traveling days, everything we learned in kindergarten, right? So always have a travel buddy and never travel alone. And I love how both of my daughters, even at a tiny little school where my oldest is in Kentucky, there's only like 2,000 students, to a bigger campus where my younger one is, there's always a patrol service. There's always an emergency service that you're able to call and say, hey, I'm at the library and it's getting late and I studied a little bit longer. I hope they can say I studied so long that it's dark outside. And could you come walk with me? And they will always, always walk with the student. And that's part of that confidence. Don't be afraid to call that emergency number and say, hey, would somebody come walk with me? And really the final thing is, picking good friends. You're in the middle of finding good friendships and really getting to know the right people. And that's all really encouraging my daughter to find that Christian campus ministry that's on her campus and surrounding herself with good people and people that she can trust. So confidence, be confident, be cautious, don't go anywhere alone, have a travel buddy, and pick good friends are my top 4 tips for my college daughter and my college friends who are out there now.
I can still hear my mom's voice in my head. Have buddy system. Have a buddy system wherever you go. And that's still true. I mean, even as an adult, it's maybe not somebody that's, as an adult, I don't always have somebody to go with me everywhere, but telling somebody where I'm going, especially if I'm on my bike, my husband knows where I'm going, when to expect me home, those types of things, just for that safety. But you brought up a good point of, if you're in the library or somewhere and you're studying and it's dark outside, what do you do in those situations where maybe you have done all of these things, but you still don't feel safe, or maybe you got into a situation on purpose or on accident that is no longer safe? What should girls know, or know what to do in those situations?
Yeah, so I have kind of the AAA insurance for girls, and the first A is to assert themselves. And I think we sometimes raise our daughters to be so nice and polite that they feel like if they do have a strong voice, that they might feel like they're being rude. But by all means, be a little rude. And a girl's first line of self-defense is her voice, and she needs to be very loud with her voice and clearly communicate what her intentions are and what she wants the boundaries of her body to be, and to be able to yell or scream, or even just to talk the person down, to not escalate a situation, but to de-escalate a situation. And then she can make good decisions, and that's the second one is to make a good assessment of her situation. Are there other people around somewhere before she takes off into the dark? Can she go back into the library and find help? And she can take the appropriate action. Sometimes she might need to be ready for some kind of altercation, and I hope not, but other times she might be able to talk her way out of it, find help, use her voice and be strong, and make the appropriate action. A violent reaction isn't always the best first action. There might be other things that she can do before it gets bad.
Now, today we're talking about college women. When is a good time to begin learning self-defense? We're talking about college women going off to college and providing some tips for them, but your approach starts much earlier than college age, right?
Yeah, that's really where my heart has been, and that's, we have 2 daughters, and we suddenly realized, gosh, we didn't really teach our daughters any of these things until suddenly it's high school and it's college, and we're quickly catching up on, hey, let's go take a self-defense class and let's learn different skills. And in that process, we realized that being in a self-defense situation at an older age was really uncomfortable for them. So that's where the Great Flip was kind of birthed out of, where I start teaching girls self-defense movements and techniques and skills as young as first grade. So my program, my curriculum starts at 6 years old all the way and up. So college girls who are learning simple techniques like a wrist escape or how to fall properly, a 6-year-old can do. They can already start learning that movement and practicing those skills at a very young age. So it just becomes part of their very nature. It becomes a life skill. It's part of that character development that we want to give all these leadership skills to our girls starting when they're very young. So that's where my program actually thrives in the younger age category, starting at first grade. It's amazing.
Yeah. I've gone through a little bit of a self-defense class with you with some younger girls, and it was amazing to watch them learn these moves and to become more confident over that hour or hour and a half or whatever it was of just learning how to be more confident in your abilities to defend yourself. Talk a little bit more about the curriculum that you've developed.
Yeah, so yes, Sarah, you have experienced a little bit of it. So, which you're very good at, by the way. The Great
No
Flip
one messes with her.
I know. So the Great Flip is an online introduction to self-defense inspired by the martial art called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's kind of a mouthful, but I picked jiu-jitsu because it's the only martial art that fully addressed the ground game, and that's where most altercations land, is when on the ground. You're going to get pushed on the ground. No one wants to just stand and be kicked or punched over and over and over again. Someone's finally going to get tackled and brought to the ground. And jiu-jitsu was the only martial art that really gets you on that ground position. It's called grappling, almost like wrestling in a way. And you're learning to deal with situations when your back is on the ground and you're pinned down, and how to get out of that situation. And through my curriculum, I make it more playful and fun, so it's not such a scary situation. Sometimes in the gym, it is a scary situation, but before it becomes scary, go ahead and make it a life skill, make it a motor skill that you can develop in their bodies, just moving. And girls are super, super talented, and they're very technical learners. They're great at dance, and they're great at wrestling. They're great at all these things, so they really take to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu really well, and they're really good at it.
And this is something that you learned right alongside your girls, and have now become a great coach and teaching girls of all ages, women of all ages, really, to be able to use jiu-jitsu as the foundation for self-defense.
Right. Yeah. The three of us went, and we were very overwhelmed by the kind of getting to this physical location, this big gym, and there's a lot of sweaty people there, and you have to be very physically close in contact with these sweaty people. And my girls were like, we understand the value of learning these skills, but can't we do it in a different way?
It's not so sweaty.
Not so sweaty. Or at least can I do it with people that I trust?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so that's what these online videos do. It allows you to do it at home or do it in a class of friends that you trust. It works great even in a PE class, in the elementary and middle school age, where you can pair up with your best friend and watch a 3-minute video. Here's one technique you can learn, and now you can watch it and master it, and then watch the next video. And you can do it right at home or right at school or right at church, and it makes it more. It feels safer and it feels more playful, and yet you're learning. They don't even realize they've learned a really valuable life skill in that moment of learning.
Jody Token, a coach and founder of The Great Flip, thegreatflip.com. Thanks so much for being our guest on the Coffee Hour today.
Thank you.
I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@KFUO.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.